Hi friends, so glad you're back for our See the Light, Yes You Can Draw club meetings. This is club meeting number 5. I'm Pat Nepley, I'm your master artist. I'll be with you through all of these club meetings. I hope you brought some friends along to join you for this meeting. We love having new friends come to our club meetings. Now for today, we have a couple of tools I want to make sure that you have ready. So we're going to have a paper and pencil, those are our basic tools, and a great eraser, and a tool that should be in your toolbox but we haven't used yet, and that's a piece of charcoal. Now charcoal is very soft, very light, very black and smudgy, so you need to be careful with a piece of charcoal. You can't hold it as hard as you would a crayon or press as hard, and we'll get to that later when we actually use our charcoal. Now the last time that we were together we did our shoe drawing. Do you remember that? It was a contour drawing we spent a little bit more time on. You probably worked on it at home on your own, and it was so that we could really spend time observing our subject so that we could draw what we see and not what we know. Now when I say subject, I mean the thing that we're drawing. So it could be something you see outside, a tree, a house. If you're going to draw your friend, they're your subject for the drawing, or items in a still life like an apple or a pear or a mug. So you'll hear me use that word subject, meaning the thing that you're drawing. Now, not everything comes from what you're seeing. You could be drawing from your imagination, a great scene out of your head, or cartooning. That's okay too. Whatever you're drawing is your subject. Now we talked about contour drawing, that's line, and the combination of those contours makes a shape. So that's what we're going to be spending a lot of time on today, shape. Now you've known your shape since you were a toddler, right? Let's just review them because I know you know them. I'm going to use my charcoal. Our basic shapes: triangle, square, circle, oval, rectangle. Those are the basic shapes, and every drawing is a combination of lines and shapes. Now there could be a little bit more complicated shapes like a crescent or a cone, or even a star. But you know what's interesting? Even these shapes are really part of a basic shape. For example, let's look at this crescent. It's actually an oval that we just split in half. And a cone is really a triangle with an ellipse or oval attached at the bottom, and parts are simply erased out. And a star is a combination of triangles around a circle. So really, all things can be reduced down to basic shapes. Now, take a look at our mug. Remember our mug from last time? Now, you know that the inside of the mug is a circle. But when we see the mug from an angle, it now becomes an ellipse or an oval. The opening is no longer a circle. This goes back to what we talked about last time, friends, right? Drawing what you see and not what you know. You know that that's a circle. But when you see it at an angle, it now becomes an ellipse. An ellipse is just another word for oval. Now, what about some more complicated shapes? Like distinct shapes. I'm going to draw it. You try and guess what it is while I'm doing it. What's this shape? You might say a leaf shape, or, right, a football. That's a very distinct shape. How about this shape? It's coming up. Oh, there we go. It's not an oval, and it's not a circle because one end is broader than the other. That's right, it's an egg shape. In fact, last time you did contour drawing, you might have done this fruit, a pear, and that's a very distinct shape. But I could still break it down into basic shapes. A circle with an oval at the top and rounding out the edges. Okay, you got the idea. Now here's a fun exercise I want you to do right now with your paper. I want you to draw 3 circles, okay? Because all shapes are made up of straight or curved lines. So our squares are made up of straight lines. And our circles are simply curved lines that meet each other. Like this. So across your page, make your circles about the same size. Now I don't want you to worry that it's not a perfect circle. You just want to get your hand used to drawing the 2 curves that meet to make a circle. But the cool thing is you can do so much with this. In fact, this is a great exercise to do with your friends. Fill a page with circles and then say, what can I make from this circle? So for example, my first one could be a beach ball. Go ahead, you do that with your circle. It's just a series of curved lines that meet at the edges of the circle. This one could be, what fruit is perfectly round like this? How about an orange? The way that I show it's an orange, since it doesn't have a stem usually, is to put little dimples to show the skin. Okay, our third circle could be, how about a piece of hard candy? This is what I mean. You can just fill your page with shapes and figure out how you can turn that shape into a subject matter. You can do the same thing with squares, or rectangles, or even triangles. Now, why spend so much time on shape? Because all drawings, everything, is made up of line and shape. And shape is a really important part of drawing. You know what? Shape is actually really important to God, too. Did you know that? I have a great example. Back in the Old Testament, there was a wonderful time when King Solomon, very special man, very wise king, God loved him dearly, and he loved God. He wanted to build his temple, a temple for God, with God's instruction. And a lot of people worked on that temple. In fact, you can read all about it in 1 Kings 6. But listen to this verse. This is 1 Kings 6:25. The second cherub also measured 10 cubits, for the 2 cherubim were identical in size and shape. See, 1 Kings is an amazing description of Solomon's temple and how special every little piece was. So God cared about each size and each shape that things were going to be in. I think that's pretty cool to know that shape was important back then in something as important as the Solomon's temple, and it's important as you're drawing as well, paying very careful attention to shape. So right now, take a look around where you are. What do you see that you could reduce to a circle? A roll of tape, maybe? Top of your glass if you're drinking water? Maybe the shape of a sink? And what about a square? I'm sure there's lots of things around. A rectangle could be a book or your television screen or the shape of your table or your desk. So I really want you to pay attention to shape, knowing that all shapes are made of straight lines and curved lines. Okay, so last time we were together at our club meeting when we did our shoe, we talked about how even things that we are drawing very carefully and observing are really small shapes put together to make our subject. If we reduce them down to basic shapes, that's pretty easy. But what about when it's a complicated shape? Well, when we're together next time, that's when we're going to talk some more about shapes and how you can identify them in more complicated subject matter. And once you get the hang of really finding the shape, you're going to become a better artist, because I know that, yes, you can draw. Can't wait to see you next time.